Hello Math 8 students, this is Misty Witt. Today we are going to be taking notes on using the Pythagorean theorem in different kinds of word problems or applications. So the first thing I want to remind you is that I always want you to draw a picture so you can see exactly where the right triangle is. So our first example says, the base of a 13-foot ladder stands 5 feet away from a house. So we're going to draw our house, and then next to that house, we're going to draw a ladder. And so our ladder is right here, and then there's the little steps, right? And so we know that the ladder itself is 13 feet, and we know that it is 5 feet away from a house. So do you see the triangle there? This is your right triangle. And so what sides of the triangle do we know? To me, it looks like we know one of the legs. So we're going to say A is 5, B is unknown, and C is 13. And then we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for the height the ladder is up the side of the house. So we're going to do 5 squared plus B squared equals 13 squared, which is 25 plus B squared, which is 169. We are then going to subtract, because we know the hypotenuse on a side, we're going to subtract 25 from both sides. And we're going to get B squared equals 144. And then remember, we always need to take the square root. We can never leave it as B squared. We have to find B. So the square root of B squared is B, and the square root of 144 is 12. So we want to make sure to answer the question, because the question is in a word problem. We want to make sure to answer it in a full sentence. So the length of the house, or the side of the house, is 12 feet. Make sure you always put your units, especially when it's an application problem like this. As your science teacher says, no naked numbers. All right, this next example says a 20-foot tall tree. So we're going to draw our tree. And our tree is 20 feet tall. Casts a shadow. So there's the shadow of the tree. And this is 12 feet. From its base. How far is the end of the shadow to the top of the tree? So we're going to draw, that was a terrible line. Terrible line. So let's try that again. And so I drew the base of the tree a little bit above, but I think hopefully you understand what I mean by the base of the tree. So there's the base of the tree, so you can see it. So in this case, it looks like I have my 2 legs, and I'm looking for my hypotenuse, not hypothesis. I was thinking about those science classes. Okay, so I know that my A is 12, my B is 20, and I'm looking for my C this time. So I'm going to do 12 squared plus 20 squared equals C squared. 144 plus 400 equals C squared. So that gives us 544, and I need to take the square root of both sides to find my value of C. And so the square root of 544 is approximately 23.3. Approximately. So the top of the tree is about 23.3 feet away from the end of the shadow. And that's your answer. So just being able to read a word problem and use that information to help you draw a picture and find out what it's looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and have you guys try the next one. Lindsay Vaughn, oh, sorry about that. Lindsay Vaughn skis off a 15-foot long ramp. Before I let you get started, I'll help you draw the picture. So here's the ramp, and it's 50 feet long. And from the beginning of the ramp to the end of the ramp is 12 feet. So the beginning of the ramp to the end of the ramp is 12 feet. How tall is the ramp? So that's what they're asking. So go ahead and pause this video and try it on your own. So hopefully you were able to calculate that the ramp is 9 feet long, because you knew the hypotenuse, which was the length of the ramp, and you knew the length from the front, the start to the end, and so you were just looking for the height. Okay. Miss Cha and her gaming monitors. She has a lot. Miss Cha bought a third gaming monitor, and her monitor is 13 inches high and 26 inches diagonal. She only has 20 inches of extra space left on her desk. Will her monitor fit? So we are going to actually figure this out. So a monitor is a rectangle. And we know that the diagonal of that rectangle is 26 inches. We know that the monitor is 13 inches high. And so we're trying to figure out the length of the monitor. So it looks like I know I know one of the legs, and I know the hypotenuse. So I need to figure out what B is. So I'm going to take 13 squared plus B squared and C. I know C squared is 26. And so 13 squared is 169. I don't know B squared, but 26 squared is 676. So I'm going to subtract 169 from both sides, and I get B squared equals 507. And then I need to take the square root of both sides, and 507 square root is about 22.5. Okay, so it looks like Miss Cha only has 20 inches of extra space. So the monitor will be too big, about 2 inches too big, a little bit more than 2 inches. So no, this monitor will be too long for her desk. So making sure that you read the question and see what they're asking. In this case, they didn't ask you what was the length of the monitor, but they asked you to apply that length into a larger question. Okay, Math 8 students, go ahead and check your playlist and start on tonight's